Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. John here from Wildboar Cycling, and today I'm with
Brian.
And can you guess what you guys probably can't see it, I got it off camera right now, but I got some tubes here, and the reason I want to talk about this today, because I felt really bad when I featured a TPU tube, and one of our subscribers says, I don't even know what that is. So
I never know what you're talking about.
That's a typical response from a child. But anyhow, let's go ahead and talk about this for a minute. I want to compare and contrast some things. And Brian, I want you to chime in on this, all right? Sit back and enjoy.
Do you really want me to chime in on tubes?
Yeah. So, hey folks, both of us are tubeless kind of riders, okay? Me to a certain extent, and Brian all tubeless, but a lot of folks out there that are out there riding, whether it be recreational or competitive, are putting some tubes into their bicycles. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is that I've seen a number of studies that we're going to show you 3 types of tubes. What are we going to show them, Brian?
I'm gonna go in order of when they were invented.
Okay.
All right. So we've got a latex inner tube.
Okay, a latex.
Right. We've got a butyl inner tube, and then we've got TPU. Can I tell you a funny story?
Sure. Tell me a funny story.
Before I became like tubeless convert, I was sold on latex tubes. And I tried to find a set of latex tubes locally at a local store in stock. I didn't want to order them on Amazon. And this was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And one of the guys was like, what are you, building a vintage bike? Because we'll put latex. This is what balloons are made out of, right? This is like old school stuff. It was the original tube. But that's not the standard tube these days.
No.
Standard tube, you in the shop, you set up a bike, what do you put in it?
Right. Butyl. Now, so why are we talking about this, Brian? Because I'm going to suggest to those folks out in the YouTube land that are running butyl tubes in their tires, that this is the cheapest upgrade to your wheel set. Is to think
Butyl tubes is the cheapest upgrade?
No. Yeah. Think about changing your tubes to tubeless. To tubeless. No, you're stuck on that. Or think about a latex or TPU tube. Let's compare and contrast them. What do you got up here first, partner?
Well, can I open this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So this is just like your standard bike tube, the black one that has been in bikes since, everybody who's currently riding bikes can remember. This one happens to be a fairly fancy one from WTB. And these have a lot of benefits to them. One is the price. This is $9 for a pretty high-end.
This is a high-end inner tube.
Butyl tube. You can get them cheaper than that. The other thing is these don't really leak air. If you pump this up to whatever PSI you need, you can go back tomorrow and the next day and a week later and and it's still going to be there.
Totally.
Downside?
Downside is the weight.
This one tube is 115 grams. So there's 2 of these on your bike, actually 3 of these on your bike because you got a spare, right? So you're looking at 350 grams.
But Brian, more importantly, this is rotating weight. And rotating weight, the heavier that it gets,
When you're accelerating.
Okay.
But so these can get really, really heavy.
But you can get them everywhere, Brian.
You can get them everywhere. They're easy to come by, and it's like the standard one. And they're cheap. And if you're a bike commuter and you don't want to go tubeless, this is probably what I recommend because you don't have to pump your tire up every day.
Totally.
But so that's butyl. This standard black rubber. It's just like what inner tubes are made out of.
Right. Next. Now, this is my go-to. Latex is my go-to on my Amanda. Brian, why don't you open this box and show folks what latex looks like.
Yeah. So
This is from our friends at Silka.
This is a Silka one. So right away, you can see this is very different material. This is kind of this thick. There's a couple of colors, but they're usually like this pink one. And it's like, you know, it feels like a set of rubber gloves because it's latex.
Super stretchy, super flexible.
Oh yeah, very stretchy, very flexible.
Yeah, you can just see how flexible that is and stretchy it is.
Upsides to this. 78 grams. This tube is 78 grams compared to 115 for this one. And again, you've got 2 or 3 of these on your bike if you've got a spare.
Correct.
That's, I mean, okay, so this cost $15.
But I think the watts, savings in watts, though.
Well, so we haven't even got there yet. I mean, like if you go dollars per pound, like I don't know how much you got to spend on a crankset to save 100 grams.
A lot.
It's a lot. Like you're talking hundreds of dollars to save 100 grams.
Or going with a lighter weight wheel set.
Yeah. Don't even give them that. But so that's one benefit. They're lighter. The other benefit is that due to basically friction between the tube and the tire, there is rolling resistance losses having a tube, which is why I like it to go tubeless.
Okay, I understand that.
But apparently the friction between latex and a tire is less than the friction between a butyl tube and a tire. And so according to Silka, you save up to 5 watts per wheel by using latex tubes. Now to put that into context, again, you got 2 wheels. So that's up to 10 watt savings at like 30 miles per hour. Now, keep in mind, I can't go 30 miles per hour on a flat, but
I can, but not for too long.
Not for too long. But for me, 10 watts is 10% of my century power production.
Okay.
Right? Like that's a huge gain for me for an extra $7 per wheel. I mean, it's a huge, like, how do you get 10 watts out of any other bike part?
You don't.
You don't. I mean,
so when we say that,
huge upgrade.
Gosh, upgrading, if you're running tubes, you're upgrading your tubes. It is one of the cheapest ways, you know, to upgrade your bike. I mean, because you're not going to go out and buy a carbon wheel set, but boy, you can pop these things in and have some serious savings in watts. Yeah.
Downside.
Yep.
Downsides.
Go ahead.
What are your downsides? What do you got?
Well, I'm going to say the downside is the price. These are a little expensive. I mean, if you
again, $15 compared to 9.
Yeah, and I think I got these on sale too. I mean, when I bought them. I think the other downside too is these are a little challenge to mount. But I got a true confession. The last time I mounted these, I caught the edge of one of these inside that bead, and I rode it for 800 miles before I knew it, and the thing never popped. It never popped. So, what do you think is another downside?
Well, just these are you have to be very careful putting these in. My convert to latex story is I bought 3 latex tubes, you know, 1 for each wheel and a spare.
Yeah.
I put them on my bike. I went for a shakedown ride. I got half a mile from my house, hit a curb. Pop. Basically what I did is I got the tube stuck between the bead of the tire and the rim. And it held long enough for me to go about 1.5 miles. And then when I went up on the curb, it was enough pressure to pop it, and I had to carry my bike home because I had a flat.
Yep.
So aside from mounting, these tend to be a little more puncture resistant.
Yeah.
Once you get it mounted, you just gotta go back through the bead to make sure it's not
really just double check it. Yep.
The other downside, when I was doing that, I was running pretty skinny tires, high pressure, 90 PSI. I'd pump my tire up 90 PSI, go on a 5-hour ride, it's down to 80.
Okay.
I would lose quite a bit.
There's some air loss.
Yeah, one of the reasons why these are lighter is because there's less stuff here, which means there's more molecular sized holes in them.
Yeah, if you think about the material, Brian, you know, to have that flexibility in the tube, you're gonna have some spaces where oxygen definitely can escape. And I also think that this is great for maybe up to 32 mil tires. These are 28s because we're going to compare we wanted to compare the same type of tube. But I do think that they are better fit for a narrower tire than like maybe a high volume gravel. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's making chunky boy tire latex tubes.
Latex, because you got to search around. These are not the easiest ones. That's a downside. Downside is you got to search around to find these, and I'm a fan of them. And I'm going to continue to use them until I get frustrated with it. But yeah, these are Silkas, and you know they do great work and provide a great product too.
Yeah, if you are not the type that wants to pump your tire up every single time you get on your bike, this is not for you.
That's true.
I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to finish a Century without having to add air to my tires.
Right.
Because the Century takes me quite a while.
Yeah, let's move on right now because this is the last one we have, and this is a TPU tube, and I'm going to pull this one out.
Thermoplastic urethane.
Urethane. It is plastic, and you
so
see that in the camera right there, but super lightweight. This one here comes in, Brian, at 36 grams. Okay. 115, 75 or 78, 36 grams, extremely light. So, and once again, let's just price-wise, it's maybe a little bit around the same ballpark as the latex. These are what, $11 for 28?
Yeah, I think the TPUs are slightly less expensive than the latex. Yeah, 11 versus 15.
Yeah.
But it's in the same ballpark.
In the same ballpark. So, and right now I'm holding one of the first generation ones, and this is one of my original complaints, is how the stem is plastic. Well, now they've got some great ones that are a little more metal, and you can find them out there on the interweb everywhere. So it's a little more substantial. And actually some of my teammates are running the TPU, this is plastic, TPU plastic, in their tires all the time. So downsides, Brian?
Well, downsides is, according to everybody who talked about it, they're faster rolling resistance wise than butyl, but not quite as good as latex. So we said the latex gets you about 5 watts at 30 miles per hour. These are 4 watts.
About
so
4
you get a
watts,
little, you know, that, but again, that's like the difference between shaving your legs and not shaving your legs.
Yeah, true. Or taking the wrinkles out of your jersey.
Yeah, that's it. So other downsides, I mean, these are kind of all of the things that a latex has, but not quite as bad. They're a little finicky to put in.
They can be.
They can be, you know, you got to be careful not to get them on the bead. Not that you don't have to do that with the butyl, but they do lose air, though not as fast as a latex. You're still probably not going to ride every day without pumping your tire up every day.
Well, and you saw me in video a week or so ago. You should still do that every day. You go out, I don't care what kind of tube or tubeless setup you're running, okay? Pump your tires out and make sure they're the right inflation. So I guess one of the other downsides that I've heard people say is, you know, I carry CO2 cartridges for inflation when I'm out on the road. And I do hear folks say that the CO2, because it comes out super cold, can make this really brittle. I haven't experienced that. I just go real slow if I'm using my CO2 cartridges to reinflate. I've never had a problem using a CO2 cartridge with latex. And again, never had a problem with the Butyl tubes. So,
one other issue, depending on what you're using them for with the TPU, is they're not as stretchy. So like this butyl tube is rated for 28 to 38 C tires. Right. That's a 10 centimeter or 10 millimeter difference. This latex one is 24 to 30. This is like only rated for 28.
Yeah.
You really have to put this in the tire that you have. So if you're like me and you're changing your tires a lot, changing a tire size means you're changing this tube, that's not the case with these two. Upside
is there are a lot of choices for sizes on these now, and you can get these for your higher volume gravel bikes. So we've shown 3 different types of tubes. All have some pluses and minuses that go for them, and I can't tell you what's going to be your jam out there. Certainly, this is an upgrade going this direction or this direction, major upgrade on your ride.
You know what my choice?
Tell me.
Of all these, as a tubeless guy.
As a tubeless guy.
Is the TPU.
Yeah.
And here's why. I carry tubes as a backup for flats.
Yep, me too.
Okay, look how big this is. Look how big this is. Look how big this is.
And you've seen me on the videos show about how I pack my Matoni seat pack with this and save a ton of room.
Yeah, saves a ton of space, saves a ton of weight, and since they're just backups, I'm not going through them,
No.
so the added cost isn't that big a deal.
Nope, not at all. Cool. All right, folks. Well, I hope this gave you a little bit more information and our thought process on this. I can't tell you what to do. I know I'm using tubeless. Well, I am using tubeless on my mountain bike and my gravel bike. I'm using a latex on my road bike, my Monda. And I use these, the TPU tube, as my get me homes because they don't take up any space at all. And I've used them pretty successfully over some long distance too. So, well, guys, I hope this is helpful. And if it was, what are they supposed to do?
They're gonna like hit the like button, that stuff.
Yeah, and smash that subscribe button, but don't break your computer.
Yeah.
And
Leave a comment. What kind of tube do you use? Did you not know about any of these before right now?
I don't think this is especially new, but I was a little concerned when one of our subscribers and viewers said, I don't understand what you guys are talking about, John.
Any other questions about tube types?
Yeah, drop a note down in the comment section and we'll get right back to you. Cool. Well, if you're not doing that, well, in the meantime, go out and ride and
Have fun.
And of course, keep the butyl, latex, or TPU side down. How about that?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.